I need to talk about Carmen Sandiego, the season or the series finale. Like, I need to talk about it. I don't know if I'm gonna end up posting this video, but just spoilers for Carmen Sandiego, the entire show. I'm not gonna go into a plot rundown because I don't want to. So yeah, let's just get into it. So season 4 was the last season of Netflix's Carmen Sandiego. It is by far, I think, my favorite TV show that I've ever watched. If you haven't seen it already, go check it out. It is just so good. Like, I can't even really explain why without just going into the analysis, so let's go. So, season 4 was supposed to culminate a lot of plot points, right? It was supposed to be the culmination of a lot of things, and it was supposed to tie up loose ends. And the 4 loose ends that it needed to tie up was who is Carmen's mom, which they set up since season 2. 2, Tamara Fraser needs to come clean about Carmen's dad, who she murdered, because Carmen doesn't know that. And the third thing, which is that Vile needs to be taken down once and for all. And lastly, the fourth thing, which is who is Carmen going to end up with? That's not really it. It's really about Graham. Not that she ends up with Graham, because, spoiler alert, she doesn't end up with anyone, and I thought that was a great choice. But basically the fourth thing is that Graham needs to get back in the picture. He needs to get his memories back, and he needs to know, who Carmen really is, because he doesn't really know who she is. So, with those 4 things that they need to set up, what does the last season do? And I'm going to go into what the last season is, what happens in the last season, and what I would have changed or what I would have made better. So let's just get into it. So the first 4 episodes of season 4 are pretty much their own story arc, and the last 4 seasons are their own story arc. So the first 4 episodes center around Dr. Bellum, who's one of the Vile instructors, and she creates like these robots to take down Carmen Sandiego, and also to be, Vile operatives, because there's a human error in the operatives that they have now because they're human. So she creates these robots, and not just one of them, but she's going to create a whole army of them. And yeah, it really ups the ante. I really like the idea, but I am glad that they get destroyed like in season 4, and that's not like the main ending of the show, because that would be insane. But it would be kind of cool, and I'm going to get to that later. So anyway, that is the big bad that they have to defeat within the first 4 episodes. And the first 4 episodes go pretty much like every other Carmen Sandiego episode. There is a heist that they need to pull off in order to thwart Vile. And during the meantime, Acme is also there in the background doing their thing. And during these 4 episodes, Graham comes back, and he actually he is found by Acme, because like in the last season, in season 3, we see that Tamara Fraser's like, bring him in, and he's brought in, but he seemingly doesn't know who Carmen is, and I think that he's just like this random guy that maybe she just knows. But Devino comes in, of course, because he's now working with Acme again, and he's like, I know that guy, that was the guy from the train from the very first episode of the show. The show really comes full circle here, and he's like, no, I know that guy, he's working with Carmen, or he worked with her before, so we need to talk to him. And then he reveals that he doesn't remember anything from like a whole year of his life when he was at the Vile Academy. So they put like this thing on his head, and he gets all of his memories back, but he's confused about who he is. He also gets like his evil impulses back, I guess. They're like innate. And he starts to steal things again. He gets locked up by the police. Vile is aware of this, and so is Carmen, and they both try to get him out of prison, only for Vile to win and take him back. And there, in Dr. Bellum's lab in the Himalayas, a great setting, by the way, for the season 4 episode 4 midpoint. Anyway, so Dr. Bellum takes Graham to his lab, or to Dr. Bellum's lab. No. Dr. Maelstrom takes Graham to Dr. Bellum's lab in the Himalayas to grill him and to kind of like turn him evil again, I guess. Or, make him choose. Will he choose good, or will he choose evil? But obviously, Maelstrom is trying to make Graham evil so they can use him again. They don't have any intention of, like, letting him go after this. So, yeah, and Graham decides to choose the path of evil, that annoyed me because it's like, he was a good guy. Like, why make him evil again? Like, I thought that he was going to partner up with Carmen in the end, but that does not happen. He chooses evil, but I understand why they do that because it's a later payoff towards like the end of the season. Anyway, he turns evil again, and Carmen comes to rescue him, but then they have a falling out because, you know, it's like you've chosen your path, I've chosen mine kind of thing. And yeah, Graham chooses evil and Carmen chooses good. And yeah, they don't get together. There's no romance in the entire season, which I really, really liked. And yeah, they just ended there. I mean, Carmen says goodbye, Gray, and she heads out the window. And like in this episode, Carmen also jumps out of a helicopter. I mean, it's just, they really upped the ante. And you can also tell that the animation has been given a lot of money because the animation looks great and a little bit different than the other seasons, which I thought was cool. Anyway, so yeah, that's the culmination of the midpoint of the season. Graham and Carmen part ways, Graham gets his memories back, and the robots are destroyed. So, Vile's plan for the next 4 episodes of the season is to get all the Vile relics back, or to trace like this kind of scavenger hunt that the previous Vile faculty left for them. Yes, Vile is an evil organization that has existed since ancient Egyptian times and Norse times, apparently. I'm fine with that. But the whole point is that, like, they want to get the professors in the field. They want the professors of Vile to be doing the capers. And yeah, I thought that was a really cool thing. They've never done that before where, like, you know, they're present during the capers, but they usually have operatives fighting for them. But it's cool to see the professors get their hands dirty. In one episode, they have Brunt and Shadow Sand fighting, and of course, they're Carmen's guardians or caretakers, or were, at least in Brunt's case, and they go at it. I mean, that's pretty much why they do this. Anyway, they want to find these old Vile relics. There's 3 of them. There's one in Turkey. There's one in, I want to say Iceland. And then there's one in Egypt. And yeah, they're all really good episodes. Jules is brought back in to kind of be a decoder. And, you know, her and Carmen stay friends. They don't go, you know, the romantic plot with any of the characters, so that's fine. And yeah, basically it's just a scavenger hunt. But then, of course, Carmen foils every one of their plans, and they go after her finally, once and for all. They get Carmen in their clutches. They turn her evil with like this mind control stuff. And I'm like, are you guys really doing this? I'm sorry, I like the ending of the season. I understand why they wrote it this way. I think it's a good season. I think it's fine. But like, are we really doing this? We're really making Carmen evil and turn to the dark side. Like, we're really doing this. And I thought it was going to end like season 3 did, where actually, no, Carmen's not being mind controlled. She's playing the long game. But no, she's actually evil. And it's like, are we really doing this? We're really actually going to go through with this? Like, I don't know, it just seemed cliche and unnecessary. Like, she has, you know, these huge fights with, like, Shadow Sun and Graham, and it's like, we're really fighting with them again after you just reconciled or seemingly reconciled with them. I mean, I don't know. And, like, I don't know. Anyway, so Carmen turns evil, but of course, Shadow Sun, you know, he knows her like the back of his hand, and of course, to wake her up from this mind control experiment, he shows her one of the Russian nesting dolls that Carmen has had since she was a baby, and of course, it triggers all of her, you know, memories, and she's back to being her old self again. She's like, what have I done? And it's like, oh my god, like, I don't know, and then she doesn't remember anything either, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, she does remember things, but she also doesn't. And then she just wants. And then after that, she leaves a letter saying goodbye to Zach and Ivy, who have been her backup partners for like years now, I guess. I mean, the last 18 months. I think that's like the timeline of the entire show. But like, I don't know. I thought that was really important. And she doesn't say goodbye to them. She just writes a letter to them. But that is such, you know, her style. I don't think that she would have a teary goodbye with them. She wrote something to the effect of, like, I love you guys, you know, go live your lives now and stuff. And like, they just start living their lives without each other. Like, Carmen goes to find her mom, Shadow Sun goes back to his brother, I think his name is Hide, in Japan, and Zach and Ivy go fight crime Acme, with Chase and Jules. The last three loose ends are finding Carmen's mom, ending Vile for good, and Tamara coming clean about killing Carmen's dad. So during the last 4 episodes, Carmen uses Acme before she gets mind controlled to track down her mother, and they find her, but she doesn't actually meet her mom until like the very last minute of the show, which I do have beef about, which I'm going to talk about later. But anyway, when Tamara and Carmen have their meeting again, Tamara confesses to killing her father and not knowing that Carmen was Dexter Wolf's kid, or that, I don't know, that she didn't put the pieces together, right? Like, I thought that it would have been better if Tamara, and I think that they wrote it this way, but they changed it in the last minute. I thought that, Tamara would be like, would have like some sort of grudge against Dexter Wolf, or that's why she killed him, or knew that Carmen was his kid, and knew that because she was like, Carmen's working with Vile, and I know this, and I thought it was because she knows that they're father and daughter, and that she needs to get Carmen now because, what if she comes after Tamara for killing her father, or what if she wants revenge, or she wants to stop Carmen from doing evil like her dad did. And that's where I thought it was going, because, Tamara is a smart character, like she's playing the long game. And it did annoy me that in season 3 that she wasn't putting the pieces together. And when she does finally put the pieces together, she's surprised by it. And it's like, you think that they were writing it differently than how it turned out, but it's fine. Anyway, Tamara confesses to killing Carmen's dad, and Carmen doesn't have a grudge over it. She's like, I'm not here for revenge. And says she's just going to use Acme and its resources to find her mom. And I think that's fine. I think that makes sense with Carmen's character, but I don't know, like just as a person, not even as like a character, like you wouldn't feel any type of way or have any sort of confrontation or say anything to this person that murdered your father. Like, I don't know, I didn't get that, but it's fine. I just didn't get it. So that's one thing that's wrapped up. So far we talked about 2 things: Graham getting his memories back, and Tamara coming clean about the death of Carmen's dad. And they're kind of just like, the Graham one I thought was good, even though he chose to be evil. And the Tamara one I thought was kind of annoying. Like, she didn't, her character is a lot smarter than that. Anyway, so the last 2 things: Vile being taken down. After Carmen, it has her memory given back to her by looking at the Russian nesting doll, Tamara asks her if she remembers enough to tell her Vile's location, and they find where Vile is hiding out, and Acme just infiltrates them. They get these evil guys, and that's the end of it. They're taken away one by one, and something that didn't come back, which should have come back, which is that after Maelstrom and Brunt confront Carmen in Reykjavik, in Iceland, there's a moment where Maelstrom leaves into the shadows and evades Carmen, but Brunt is left there to fight, and he, is on the way to the airport, and Shadow-san defeats Brunt, but then Brunt comes back to Maelstrom and is like, were you gonna leave me there? I was gonna die and you were gonna leave me and go to the airport. And there's this little seed that's planted in Brunt that's like, wow, maybe this guy doesn't actually, like any of them, and they're not actually a family, and they're actually just these people that have common interests, but they're only really looking out for themselves in the end. That's what I thought, could have happened, that maybe one of the villains would turn good and go to Acme, or, something was going to happen. They were going to cut a deal with Acme to get themselves, not in jail and actually turn on the others. I thought they were all going to start turning on each other, and it was going to be a psychology thing, and then one of them would rat the other out. That doesn't happen. They all get taken into custody together, and Brunt's little mention of, were you going to leave me there to die, to Maelstrom never comes back again, which I thought was weird because they really set it up in that, I think this is the 6th or 7th episode this happens, or maybe the 5th, and it never comes back. It was very poignant. I don't know, it just felt like that got some rewrites. and the ending was maybe different than how they planned it or how they were drafting it. Now Carmen's mom. So something that annoys me in like adoption stories is when they just meet the birth parents like in the last second of like movie or the last page of a book. Lisa C's book, The Tea Girl of Hummingbird Lane, also did this, where we only meet the birth mother on the last freaking page. Like, why is that? And my reasoning is that it's to keep, and then we also don't see the face of Carmen's mom. We never see her face. We don't know what she looks like. And I think that's clever to some degree, but I think it's also because, an adopted kid reuniting with their birth parent is supposed to be, something happy, I guess, let's say, something really nice. And we don't want to put any image in the viewer's head of what this woman looks like or who she is, because we're just supposed to project, ideals onto her, that she's the motherly ideal, that Carmen's going to be happy now, that everything's going to work out. And they don't want to give a face to that. They just kind of want to give the idea of that. And that makes me angry a little bit. Just because, like, reunion stories aren't always happy and they're not always cut and dry. And so many like movies before this one, or I know that this isn't a movie, but so much media, I guess, before Carmen Sandiego has done it better. Specifically, I want to say Kung Fu Panda 3 and Guardians of the Galaxy, which I think Guardians of the Galaxy really, mirrors Carmen Sandiego very well, especially with the Shadow-san and Carmen relationship, which doesn't go as deep in this season at all as I thought it would or should. For example, in Kung Fu Panda 3, Po meets his birth father. And he's the only panda where he comes from, but then he goes into this whole village where there's like hella panda. And he is an outsider a bit. Even though he looks like them physically, he knows that he was raised differently, and it shows, and they talk about that and how it's hard for him to adapt. And, his adoptive father meets his birth father, and it's like, it's really intense, and actually the adoptive father resents the birth father, and they don't get along. And, and then Po has to talk to his adoptive father, and it's like, I love you too, and like, I love my birth family too, and it's like complex, And they don't do that in Carmen Sandiego, which I think is a lost opportunity. I think that they should have met Carmen's mother earlier so they could have these kind of dramatic moments with Shadow-san and with the birth mother, because I thought that could have been interesting. I thought that Shadow-san was going to feel kind of like Ping did in Kung Fu Panda 3, like kind of like he has to let Carmen go live her life and be with, and at least, try to reconcile with her birth mother, even though he's raised her all this time, even though his, guardianship at times was abusive in order to protect her, which again mirrors Peter with Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy, where Yondu was abusive to Peter in order to protect him, even though, he was kind of an asshole to him. And same with Shadow-san and Carmen. Shadow-san was an asshole to Carmen. He, seemingly hated her, and he even gave her like PTSD nightmares that she would wake up in the middle of the night with a cold sweat from. And, they have a strained relationship, but they also love each other. And that's like the main relationship that I really like in Carmen Sandiego's with Shadow-san and Carmen, because it's the adoptive parent and, his surrogate kid, essentially, And I thought that they were going to delve into that with meeting Carmen's mom, because there's so much drama that can go on with, like, an adoptive parent meeting a birth parent and how that goes on and how they share this common bond with this kid and how it's messy and how, feelings might get hurt. And I thought they were going to do that. They don't do that, and it's fine. The ending does feel kind of rushed, like Carmen just leaves, and, Shadow-san just goes back to his brother, and, like, that's fine because they really did set up that relationship, but, like, I don't know, there was no teary goodbye moment between Shadow-san and Carmen that I really welled up with. It was mainly with, Carmen's letter to Zach and Ivy, which I thought was really heartbreaking. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that the best season finale was definitely season 2 was so freaking good. And that's where I thought that they were setting up, okay, they're going to take Tamara Fraser down, or Tamara's going to try to take Carmen down, or maybe even Tamara's going to partner with Vile, or they're going to bring Graham in to be, an agent against Carmen Sandiego or something. I mean, it's set up, but there's no follow through with any of that. It's totally different in the last season, and I think it's fine. I like the way they wrapped it up. I thought it was good. I thought it was good that they all went their separate ways, that they ended being Carmen Sandiego, and that they left it to the future generations, or to, anyone can put on the hat and coat and, be a hero, essentially. And I thought that was a really good message, especially that they set it up so much in so many other episodes. I think starting with the season 2, episode 1, where Carmen's in Rio with, that little girl, and, with the luchadora, and with Sonia, and with the girl from the Peking episode in this season. So yeah, I thought it was good. I mean, and then in the end we see, Zach and Ivy and Jules and Devino fighting crime together, and that's fine. I just wish we got more with the birth mom. They really were setting up, who is this woman? Is she with Vile? Is she just a civilian? What does she look like? And we never find it out. And I think it's clever, again, to a degree. But it's come on, just tell us who she is. I thought it would have been interesting if she was evil. But of course, maybe that's too cliche. I don't know. I thought it would be cool if Carmen took her around and, showed her life and her friends. And I don't know. I thought it was going to be, an ending where they're all together, but they're all apart. I don't know. Maybe that's just me as a fan wanting that. But I did really like one scene or one relationship that they did dive into this season was Carmen's relationship with Player, which I thought was interesting. When they actually meet in person and Player says to her, "You're taller than I expected," and I was I don't know why, but that made me teary-eyed. I don't know, I just like that. I like these little things that they put in the season. I thought it was really good. But yeah, I mean, it could have been better in my opinion. It could have been a little bit better. But overall, I'm happy with where it went. I really like that El Topo and Leshev get together and that they don't go to jail. I did really like all of the endings of all of the seasons. I just really, I guess it's because the last season has a lot of, higher expectations than the other ones. But every ending of the season, they were really upping the stakes. For example, in season 1, Coach Brunt tries to kill Carmen. And Carmen thinks that Coach Brunt was her mother, her adoptive mother figure, and she tries to kill Carmen while hugging her. That was really intense. Season 2, we find out about Carmen's dad and Tamara Fraser and Shadow-san, and you're thinking that's gonna be setting up this really, intense thing for the climax between the three of them, but it turns out that Carmen doesn't care that Tamara killed her dad, or maybe she does care and she's just using her, or I don't know, maybe she's just over it. I don't really know, but that kind of upset me. And yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they didn't do the whole robot thing at the end of this season. Season 3 setup was really good with Graham getting back in the picture. They were setting that up. And, it turned out fine. It turned out to be a good series finale. I'm happy that it ended with them all in separate locations, but I thought that there should have been maybe in the reunion, or when it says 2 years later, they should have just all been together. Shadow-san was nowhere to be seen. Alright, we just spent all of these years together and now they're just gonna go up and leave each other. It's fine. It's fine. So yeah, that's the ending. I thought the season was really good. I know that I'm saying things that I didn't like about it, but there are a lot of good things, specifically in the animation. They really went all out with the locations, with such imaginative setups, especially the one in Turkey when she's using her grappling hook to go from balloon to balloon. The skiing in the Himalayas, the robot, which I thought was a good idea, but I'm glad that they axed that in the middle and that it wasn't Carmen versus this army of robots. But though I did think of an alternate ending, which could have been an army of robots versus Carmen and all of her friends that she's made along the way. And I don't know, a training academy for good guys. I don't know, I thought that could have happened. But anyway, that's it. Those are my thoughts. I like the season. I thought it was really good. Thank you so much to everyone who worked on this show. There's just such like creativity in this show that I love it. So yeah, if you haven't seen it already, go watch Carmen Sandiego on Netflix. And yeah, let me know what you thought of the season or the series finale in the comments down below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, what you thought was going to happen. I'm particularly interested if people care that there wasn't a romance in the finale. I'm happy that there wasn't. I really like shows that end without any romance. There's not even like a kiss in like this entire series, which I thought was really cool. So yeah, even though they were setting up like Jules and Carmen pretty hard, in my opinion, they were really setting that up, and they were also setting up like Graham and Carmen a lot. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad that it didn't come to anything, that everyone just remained friends, because I think that's really important to see. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Let me know if you like this rambly type of content. I know it's kind of just all over the place, but I really wanted to talk about it. And I'm glad that I did, because it was cathartic for me. So thank you for indulging me, and I'll see you all in the next one.